Good afternoon and welcome to the Alliance Against Northern Pass Orange People's News Updates. I'm George.
And I'm Heather. And today we're going to start off again with our debate because we've been obsessed about having a debate with PSNH and have done everything possible to make that happen, including taking up Joe Casey on his offer to have a good old-fashioned New Hampshire debate, which he asked for in his ad, and we were so happy to oblige. But when we actually came down to confirming this debate for the 29th, Sherry Treffry actually told me that she couldn't do it and she would not have time ever, now or ever. And that was on the phone with me. And then when we tried to get a hold of Joe Casey again to confirm the plans, he never got back to us. So I guess Joe Casey is not a man of his words. And his words were to have a New Hampshire debate. We wanted one. We gave him that opportunity and he ran. And so we don't have that debate going on right now, but we're not finished, and we're going to try to have that debate in the future. So we'll keep you posted. All right, George.
Yes, next up on the list is Tom Mullen and myself are going to be attending an energy conference in Manchester Friday morning. It's BIA, Business and Industry Association. It's going to be an energy conference sponsored by, guess who? PSNH.
Right
and
on.
Guess what? Gary Long is president and chairman of the board of this BIA
That's right.
energy conference. So this should be very interesting. See what goes on Friday morning. As soon as we get done with that, we'll have another news release and let you know what happened.
I don't know. We might have to take bets on how long you guys last in the room. What do you think?
I probably plan on being thrown out of there as soon as I hear Gary Long or somebody speak. But
Voluntarily, that is.
voluntarily, yes.
Okay.
I will ask a question, and
This is
I'm
good.
sure somebody else will ask a question too. Next up on the list here, we'd like to
We'd like
remind you about
our dinner and a movie.
Dinner and a Movie
Yeah,
on
yeah.
December 9th.
Yeah.
Starting at 5, silent auction,
Yeah.
then dinner, and the movie's at 7.
One River, Two Nations, and that is the actual. I can't talk today. The actual title is Power, One River, Two Nations. Okay, very specific, and we are told that we will all learn something from it, even if we're, really up on our news with the Northern Pass. There's a lot for us to learn. So, and also we'd like to introduce our guest speaker for today, and that would be Tom Mullen, and he was going to talk to us about Jon Huntsman, I think. Okay, and would you like to come in, Tom?
Sure.
All right, come on in. We'll make room for you. All right. Yep, go ahead and have a seat there, Tom.
Okay, introduce Tom Mullen, my associate. Tom,
Good afternoon,
hello.
folks.
Yes.
Nice to be here. Thanks for the invite, George. Heather?
And you're going to talk about Jon Huntsman's presidential candidate for what he was talking about up in Whitefield.
Yeah, I'm pleased to report that we have the first presidential candidate on the Republican side, obviously, because there's nobody running on the Democratic side for the primary, but we have the first Republican candidate who has actually come out and spoken specifically against the Northern Pass and has gone on to say such things as he believes they should be looking for alternatives like going underground. Governor Huntsman, former governor of Utah, knows very well what these kinds of issues mean to the citizens of a state like ours, and he's studied this whole Northern Pass situation enough now so that he feels comfortable coming out in front on this issue. And we had a good session with him up at the Mountain View Grand on Sunday. George was with me, Mike Marino was with us as well, and we had the opportunity to see him speak to probably a group of 80 some odd people, and he was very definitive on the issue of the Northern Pass, and especially definitive on the issue of property rights here in New Hampshire, and that companies that have for-profit projects clearly have no right to use eminent domain in connection with those projects. He's used the phrase in describing property rights that they are sacrosanct. Property rights are sacrosanct, period. And so he really hit the ball out of the park on this issue, and we were happy to be there with him. And George had a chance to pin him down on. Were you pinning him down on thorium, George?
No, not really.
You weren't coming.
No, I didn't pin him down on that. No.
George is an advocate of the use of thorium as a substitute for uranium in new nuclear power plants, and George is convinced it's the wave of the future, and he's been successful in convincing me as well. So he and I are looking for good companies that produce and process thorium so we can invest in them.
Hey, I'm joining that bandwagon too. Anything that's clean.
Well, if Bill Gates is investing big money, I'm going to invest big money. That's where it goes.
So, folks, I think Heather and George have a good thing going here with the Heather and George show. We're getting good comments fed back to us from people who are tuning in. There are lots of different ways to catch this broadcast. Heather, you want to remind the folks?
Yeah, you can. I'll put the link on our website, nonorthernpass.org, with any other links that we provide during our show. And so you can go straight to nonorthernpass.org and click on, our latest update. It'll have the date, and you can check it out there.
Let me just add one thing to this issue on Huntsman. There are opportunities to get to know this fellow. He's holding little town meetings all over the state and making sure that people get a chance to know who he is, a little bit more about his family. I've gotten to the point where I think he's a good shot to perhaps win the New Hampshire primary 6 weeks from now. It's only 6 weeks to the New Hampshire primary, and Huntsman is being the only candidate that has come out in front on the Northern Pass issues would be my favorite at this point. But I wanted to remind everybody in the primary that even if you're not a Republican, you are able to vote in the primary. Independents automatically can switch over in the primary and vote for a Republican candidate, and Democrats can file to change their affiliation to either an independent or to a Republican. And then after the primary is over and before we get to the main election, anytime in there they can file to go back to being a Democrat if that's their choice. So as people who are concerned about the Northern Pass, I think we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our community, we probably owe it to a guy like Huntsman to get behind him and let him know that we support his support of the No Northern Pass opposition. And so please consider making that switch if you're not a Republican.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. It's always good to have you in our new show, and we look forward to more updates with you.
Glad to be with you. Thank you.
Just a reminder, Tom and I, we're going to be attending this BIA Energy Conference on Friday, so look for our news broadcast on what happens down there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to maybe talking to Gary Long if he's there.
George and I are hoping we don't get thrown out of the place.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm putting bets on how long you guys are going to last in the room.
What position does Donna Comanche have in this organization? She's a sponsor or speaker?
No, she's a member of their PAC, their Political Action Committee, Board of Directors.
Listen.
Political Action Board of Directors, Donna Comanche.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Comanche.
I think if Joe or Sherry are there too, you need to go up and approach them and ask them why they really, I think it's a prime time. Bring a hidden camera or something. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our update, and we'll be talking to you in our next update soon.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.